2019, my third year at Vidcon, and my last year, from what I know at this point. Day 1. My mom and I went to go pick up my girlfriend, Dragon, not her real name, before driving over to Anaheim. We got checked into the hotel and headed to Vidcon. As soon as we got in, I texted the group chat I made with all my friends I knew were going that year, asking if they wanted to meet up. My friend Gray said that she could meet us in 20 minutes, so we said that was fine and went to go explore. We took some pictures at the outside picture thing, got some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and walked around the open area. And then I saw them. Cypherden and Chili Panda. I just went up to them and was like, did I just find some animation YouTubers? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, nobody was talking to Chili, so after I met Cypher, I went over to her and gave her some fan art I made for her. Turns out I was the first person to give her fan art that year, so she gave me a hug and we just talked about stuff. Sometime later, Grace shows up, and we walked around together and talked, and she's really shy, but I ended up pushing her to meet Cypherden, who was still outside. And this time, Ryder, aka Foot of a Ferret, was with them, so I got a pic with him. And then we split up from Gray to go meet my mom for dinner. Day 2. We got to the expo hall an hour early, so we had to wait in line for it to open. It was fine, though, since we got to explain to someone how the meet and greet lottery works, to their disappointment. The reason I got there so early is because Aphmau said she would be at her booth for the first hour, and I really, really wanted to meet her. So me, Dragon, and 2 other girls in line all rushed to the Aphmau booth as soon as it opened. I was literally the second person to buy something from the booth, and the first person to get a pin. Seriously, my pin says Aphmau #1 on the back of it. Also, all the voice actors were at the booth, so I got pics with most of them. Chris, who plays Ian, was literally like the nicest person at the booth. After that, Dragon and I explored the expo hall, and we eventually ended up at the candy maze. We were hyped to get candy, especially after how much I got last year. We stood in line and waited. Gray found us and stood with us. Sitting was banned, but none of us were sitting, so it was fine. We were slowly moving in line, almost to the front, and then we stopped. Alex Wasabi decided to go into the candy maze to make a video. The staff at the maze said it would only take 5 minutes. We were waiting there for over an hour. Dragon had to go off to a panel, and then I had to go to a meet and greet with Thomas Sanders. That candy was going to be our fuel for the rest of the con. And even though we did get some later, I still hate Alex Wasabi. So, back to Thomas Sanders. I'll get right to the point. Thomas is an amazing person and just so nice and friendly. Look, he gave me 3 hugs. I love this man. Anyways, after that, I went back into the expo hall, met up with a kid from the line to meet Thomas Sanders, and finally went in the candy maze. It was very disappointing. They gave out 1/3 of how much candy they gave last year, and that includes on the last day, when they promised to give more. And then I met Blue from Blue's Clues in an attempt to make my mom jealous. While I was at the Nickelodeon booth, I found out they were filming people to be on Nick, for ads and stuff. So I filmed something to be on Nick Jr., because I was a sheltered child who didn't get to watch Nickelodeon, only Nick Jr. Met Jack's films a little later, somehow found Call Me Carson and Junkie Janker in the expo hall, and held a plank for 30 seconds for a Klondike bar. Oh yeah, and I met Aphmau at her booth, and she recognized my Club Penguin shirt, so that was pretty cool. Day 3. The first half of Day 3 was spent waiting for Drew Gooden and Danny Gonzalez's panel, and then GT Live. If you want to know what happened on GT Live, you can just go watch it. Things that happened while we were waiting for that panel. A fight almost broke out between the people sitting next to us, and my friend Flipper found me. So after the panel, Flipper and I went around the expo hall and did the Nerf thing together, which was pretty cool. We split up after that, and I was on my own for pretty much the rest of the day. I didn't do much, just met the kids playing Dora and Diego in the new live-action reboot of Dora, and met the Carlin brothers. Day 4. Just like last year, Day 4 was the cosplay contest. It was at 10, so we got to where we were supposed to be at 9, and waited for an hour as the other cosplayers came. Also, like last year, we memed when the judges left. First thing I did in the expo hall was go back to the candy booth. While I was standing in line, I noticed a guy with a Fire 8 plushie, so I ran up to him, and he was one of the creators of Battle for Dream Island, a show I watched when I was 11. I ended up at the Creator Inc. booth, bought a Game Theory shirt, and waited for the raffle. Also, Rebecca Parham's older sister interviewed me, so that was pretty cool. I went back to the AFMA booth and saw a bunch of other cosplayers who had been at the contest were there. They told me that they were planning on raiding the Klondike booth and needed as many cosplayers as they could get. So I joined them and got 2 other cosplayers to join us. We ended up having to sing Old Town Road for Klondike bars. Now I will never be able to eat a Klondike bar without thinking of that. Some more cool people I met that day, Sugar, West from Smosh, and a bunch more animators. Speaking of animators, I went to the Jackbox Games panel and somehow the kid sitting next to me got picked. Not only that, but he won Quiplash. I'm kind of jealous, but also good for that kid. He deserved it and he looked like he was having fun. Went back to the AFMA booth at some point and gave Chris a hug. He had a free hug shirt on, and let me tell you, that man gives great hugs. Last thing I did in the expo hall was meet Tim Tom. I was about to leave and Kirk and I were walking out when I spotted him. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.